by Dr. Amod K. Kant on skill development. So please give him a big round of applause. Sir, please be here for your special address.
Friends who are inside the hall and friends who are listening to me outside the hall. Part of it I have brought myself here in this session because I was supposed to be in the other session with my old colleagues like Padma, who is around, and others. Well, there was something in the family and I have to proceed to Patna for an emergency, and that's why probably I'm here. In any case, I was supposed to be here at 11:30 because there was a program at 11:30 to 12:30. That was my session. Well, the subject, it's generally about employability, skills and education, because the entire conference is in education. People like me, when they come on dais, when we participate in any program, inevitably we discuss and share our own experience. And my experience is very weird. My experience is very different from many of you sitting here. In fact, I don't look at the entire issue of employability or skilling or education from the point of view of the academicians. The academicians, I know plenty of participants in this program are academicians. They are vice chancellors, very erudite scholars. They are the storehouse of knowledge. They have huge experience in teaching and learning, and I wish I could be here to learn something more. But then my experience is very different. And since I am standing here in my capacity as the chairman of Domestic Worker Sector Skill Council, I would like to talk about that first and take you back to my other experience, which was of course not so disconnected. See, it's a body, Domestic Worker Sector Skill Council. This particular body was created by Ministry of Skill and Entrepreneurship, and partly by International Labour Organization, who approached me to help in creating this body, and Ministry of Labour and Employment, which also was party to it. And this body is one of these sector skill councils, as you know. You must have heard about the formation, the entire ecosystem of skilling in India, which is now headed by a minister and a ministry, Ministry of Skill Development. And then, of course, there is a body called National Skill Development Authority, which controls on behalf of ministry now. There is a body called National Skill Development Corporation, which is a company, all right, but practically it is working like the secretariat and the functional unit of the ministry. In fact, the entire ministry operates through National Skill Development Council Corporation. The various sectors of activity, the various economic activities, they are formed as autonomous bodies for that particular sector, like retail, hospitality, agriculture, gems and jewelry, management, all these, variety of them. They all constitute different economic activities, the sectors of that economic activities. There were nearly 40 of them, 39 of them created already. The government wanted us to create something with regard to the domestic workers in India. And hence the ILO approached me to lead that body, to lead that process, because of my experience in Prayas. Many of you would be knowing Prayas. Now let me tell you a word about Prayas. Prayas is a voluntary organization. This name I am sure most of you would be familiar. It today employs about 817 professionals. And this organization I started about 30 years back when I was in police. Some of you would be knowing that I have a police background too. I came out of service as DG Police, and I was in Delhi also Joint Commissioner of Police. And then this particular organization started off to protect children and youth, to carry out some programs for them. But slowly and gradually during the past 30 years, this organization developed into one of the largest voluntary organizations, running 47 homes for homeless children, juveniles, working children, women who are in distress and crisis, homes for them, and the homeless also. That is one. Secondly, most pertinently and relevant to this conference, Prayas runs 53 skill development centers. These 53 vocational training centers, skill development centers or livelihood centers they serve directly every day nearly 15,000 youth. So these 15,000 youth who are being served through Prayas, we are connected to almost all the important skilling programs in the country. We are a partner with National Skill Development Corporation. We are running programs for DDU GKY, you might be knowing, Jivika, Ajivika, variety of programs in 9 states of India. So that is the reason why I was sucked into this process of creating the Sector Skill Council for domestic workers in India. Now, domestic workers don't go by this title only. Domestic workers means all those people who work at home, all those people who work at home, and 90% of them being women. The various job roles which have been defined by us, which have been formulated and finalized by us, they happen to be, let's say, housekeeping of all types, housekeeping within the home, housekeeping in the institutions, housekeeping in, let's say, hospitality sector, variety of housekeeping activities. I mean, your home, jhadu, pocha, bartan types, they are all part of housekeeping. So ये सारा housekeeping ही है. So housekeeping is one of the most important job roles, as we call it, within domestic worker sector. Cooking is another very important job role. The child care, elderly care, prenatal care, postnatal care, multitasking, these are variety of various job roles which have been given to us, and we are responsible to carry them out. That's the job of Domestic Work Sector Skill Council. We create national occupation standards. We create the system of certification and assessment. We certify the training providers, we certify the assessing bodies, and we create the curriculum, the programs and activities, all that stuff. So being the first body, first government-supported body of its kind in the country, nearly 5 crores the government gave us, and we started this body. This happens to be the body now which is now also getting into the domain of policies. Padma is here, one of my colleagues from Delhi, UT cadre. She's an IAS officer, and she was talking about her own experience. See, the national policy on domestic workers is about to be thrown up and implemented. And recently, I was party to creating a law also in Jharkhand, which is notorious for human trafficking and kind of exploitation by placement agencies, as you know, has created a new law for domestic workers, which is likely to be extended in different parts of country. Human trafficking and migration is something connected to domestic workers. So there are 20 million domestic workers in this country who happen to be, according to census, the subject matter or the clientele of my organization. Now, I would like to just briefly talk about how this particular sector of activity is important. All of you, everyone sitting here, perhaps none of you is such who doesn't have a help at home. You need them. They are essential. They are being paid. So they are workers. But they are the most unorganized, perhaps the most exploited, perhaps the most overlooked, unorganized workers in the unorganized sector of India. And my call today, friends, when I am standing in front of you, my call happens to be getting into that domain which is unorganized. 93% of India's workforce is unorganized. Hardly 4 to 5%, 6% happen to be trained and skilled. So the situation is quite weird. We are aiming at skilling, let's say 400 million, 40 crore domestic workers, 40 crore workers by about 2022 or something. That's the target given by the present Prime Minister of India. But then where are we? Actually, we know very well. So here is a class of people, the class of domestic workers, who can be trained while they work, while they earn, and they can be brought into the domain of working class. Presently, they are not professionals. Presently, they don't have the dignity of work or dignity of labor. They don't have dignity of life. The working conditions are very different. So domestic workers is one area which I am trying to explain to you. But before that, I would not like to take a lot of time here. Very briefly, I would like to touch upon my own point of view, if you permit me. My own point of view about this entire sector. As I said, that people like me, when I stand in front of people like you, probably I speak my mind, I speak whatever I have experienced. A policeman by profession, getting into social sector because I started an organization. 3 years I was the first chairman of Delhi Child Rights Commission. So my worldview is very different. It's very varied also. So that varied kind of worldview, when I apply to a situation like this, my understanding of skilling, my understanding of employability, my understanding of education is very different perhaps. Very different compared to at least those who are in the pedagogy. I am not a pedagogue. I'm no one who should be getting in that area. I would like to dwell upon a situation where we are able to combine education with skills. We are able to combine skill with employability. We are able to combine industry or any kind of goods and services being created with certain kind of productive activity and employability. I very strongly feel about it, and I got the answer while I went to China to study this issue a couple of months back, that there is a huge connect in India between education, employability and skills. All of you know, I am not telling something new. There is a huge connect also between the community, the people at large, and their participation in the economic activity in organized fashion. Unorganized way, all of us participate, 93% unorganized economy. But then when it comes to creating a nexus between the community from where the people come for employability and the industry and the economic activity, there appears to be disconnect. In fact, I come from very small places. I studied in Bihar in very small colleges and schools. When I go back to my college now, higher education, I am surprised. Most of the colleges in Bihar, UP and other states, where on the rolls they have got 5,000 students, actually not even 500 come. You know it very well. If they have got, let's say, sanctioned strength of 150 teachers, you will find hardly 20 or 30. That's the position my colleges where I studied in Bihar, for example. This is the situation of higher education. And the education as a whole does not cater to either skilling or employability. It doesn't prepare people for any kind of work also. That's the challenge. This entire conference, I know, is for that reason. My experience, friends, is entirely from the ground, from where I work, from where I lead people. And that really brings me to the same situation as you talk about it here. I'm only talking about it, that there are processes which have been brought into action. This entire skilling ecosystem today, through the different types of training providers, assessing bodies or standards being created are very valid. But then there is one huge requirement, the voluntary organizations or the private bodies, not only those who are in industry, but non-industrial private bodies, the voluntary organizations, 3.5 million, you know it very well. India has got 3.5 million registered voluntary organizations. They should also come in the fray. They should also join this process. When we join this process, only then we can create the real connect between community, the people at large, education, skilling, industry, and the economic activity. That's what we are for. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sorry I've taken somebody's time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Skilling is really a very important thing. Doesn't matter it is for domestic workers or for engineers or for any other graduate. So skilling is definitely very much needed, as it not only saves the time of company, but it enhances the value of a product from a company or an organization. So thank you so much, sir. I'd like to call on stage Dr. Anand A. Samuel, Vice Chancellor, VIT University, to present Dr. Amod Kant with a speaker memento. Dr. Anand A. Samuel, please give him a big round of applause, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I truly respect gurus like this. And you are vice. Thank you.
Thank you.